that. We had a countdown this morning.
Yeah, we got a countdown. Hi, guys. Rob and I are here today. It's a Saturday. It's not a usual day for our TNT. But we wanted to address the announcement from CMHC and kind of let you know how this is going to affect the market and some of the pros and cons we see coming out of this. And we want to share it with you. So, Rob, or let's TNT.
Should we do this first?
1, 2, 3.
We were on sync that time.
We were. That was good.
All right, so let's get right to the facts, right? So we might as well keep it that. First of all, it's going to start July 1st. That's when everything's going to kick in. There are some key things I want a lot of people to remember. So if you have a pre-approval after July 1st, that pre-approval is probably not going to hold any water. So you have to be in something firm. Your commitment has to be issued before the 1st of July. So don't get caught up thinking, hey, I got a pre-approval, I'm good to go. I can go by in the middle of July or August. It's not going to work that way. These changes are going to come in. And then you're going to have to make sure as of July 1st that you go out and get a new commitment, because chances are you're going to be your purchasing power is going to probably drop by about 10%. And that's huge.
Okay. I got two things. Right. One, I'm going to get you to actually, we're assuming everyone knows what the changes are. So I want you to say what the changes are. But second, just a quick question on what you just said. When you say that they have to be firm, what if they're firm, but their closing date is August 1st? Are they in jeopardy?
So that is fine. So as long as you're firmed up on the purchase agreement and on the mortgage. So that means your mortgage has to be approved, done through the insurer and gone through. You are good. You can close in August. You can close in September. You've got basically 120 days to close from the 1st of July, really, technically.
Okay.
But you can't change lenders. You can't do anything like that. That's going to be your mortgage commitment. You're firm into that one. Right.
Okay. So recap what the changes are so they know what we're talking about.
Well, I'll recap the big ones. So and I was going to make another point there, but I'll recap on the big ones. One, your credit score. So they've actually increased the minimum credit score now up to 700, I believe it is.
680, I think.
680? Sorry, there. Get the facts in front of me and I just forgot. So that was one big increase. Yeah. So it went to 680 from 600. So that's one of the big ones. And there's a lot of people now, because of the COVID-19, who've probably seen a big credit correction in their credit bureaus because maybe of like missed bill payments or whatever. So that's going to be something that is going to definitely affect a lot of the market going forward until they can correct their credit. Okay, so that's one. The next big one that's really in there, though, is they decreased the ratios on the TDS and GDS. And I'll get into what each one is in a second. But that's a pretty big hit, and that's where most people are going to lose 10% of their buying power. So the one point, though, before I get into that, this is only for insured mortgages, okay? So we don't know what's going to happen on conventional mortgages. So conventional mortgages is 20% down or more. And when we get into that point, we're not sure if the other lenders are they going to follow the same suit as the insurer guidelines. Are they going to have their own? We're not going to know that until after the 1st of July. My guess is they're going to have their own guidelines only because the market is slow on the lending side. So it's very, very competitive right now. So I don't think they're going to want to give up too much of that space, and they're definitely going to want to keep lending. So I can't see them dropping it to 35, but I could be wrong, right? 1st of July, we'll know. But let's go through the big ones. So we have the GDS. So that's our gross debt servicing ratio. I know you're going to have questions on this, but it really includes three things. It's your mortgage payment, it's your heat and your hydro payment, and it's your property taxes. Condo fees, if it's in there, we'll count that as a fourth one. So that makes up the gross debt servicing ratio, and that's being dropped from 39% to 35%. Okay.
And can I just interject? So it's those expenses compared to your income. That's the ratio. Your income
compared to your gross income. Yeah. So, and that, again, when I ran the numbers on a $500,000 mortgage, somebody making $100,000 a year, that actually took that $500,000 mortgage approval down to $440. So it was a $60,000 difference, so just a little bit more than $10,000. So that's a big deal. So if you all of a sudden qualify for 500, you're in the market. All of a sudden you go down to 440, you could be, really struggling to try to find anything, especially when there's a lot of people trying to find that same market value. So you've really got about 3 weeks left if you're sitting in that kind of a situation. And if you're sitting with less than 20% down, that's probably going to be the big number that's going to take you out. The next one is the total debt servicing ratio. That didn't take as big as a drop, but it went from 44% down to 42%. And the TDS is your total debt servicing ratio. So it's everything I just mentioned before with the mortgage. Plus it could be your car payment, your line of credit, your credit cards, all that all those monthly payments get added in, and student loans. I can go on and on and on. There's quite a bit of stuff that could be in there.
But you have to meet both ratios. Like if I met the gross debt service ratio, but this one was a little high, I wouldn't qualify. I have to meet both, correct?
That's right. You have to be under both. So you could, sometimes we see it where you might have your total debt servicing ratio is right at 42, but your gross debt servicing ratio might only be down at 25. But that means you're carrying a lot of debt, and that's why you're there. So, if you're already a current homeowner, usually what we do is we actually try to reconsolidate to save you money if that's the case. But if you're a first-time home buyer, you obviously don't have that option, so you need to eliminate debt. And we go through that in a lot of our first-time home buyers programs to do that.
Right.
But yeah, the GDS is probably the one that's going to hit most people right off the gate. And, add that on with the stress test, which is not being eliminated. So some people say, that means they're going to get rid of the stress test. No, they're not getting rid of the stress test. So the stress test already took away 20% of your purchasing power 5 years ago. This one's going to take away 10% of your purchasing power pretty much going forward. So it's definitely going to set us back. There's no question. If you're a first-time home buyer, you've probably got about 3 weeks to make a move. And I said this to you earlier, like if I was a seller, I wouldn't be on the fence anymore. I'd be jumping off that fence and getting my house on the market, because chances are my best opportunity is to sell in the next 3 weeks, especially if you're under that 800,000 range. I would be right on it.
Well, and I can tell you just in reference to that, my experience, I mean, just the other day, I was in offer situation where it was a mid-range house in Keswick and there was 9 offers. Like, I mean, the buyers are there, the inventory's not.
Yeah. So if you're on the inventory side, I'd be out there. I'd be selling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't sit on the fence and went, I'm going to put my house up in July or August, or I'm going to wait and see what happens. I think the opportunity's missed. And I talked about this. I think I talked about you last week about this, and quite a few other realtors that are out there. We expected CMHC a table that they wanted to take the minimum down payment from 5% to 10%. So there was a lot of backlash with that. And that's why, so it's off the table now, but they took it off the table and then turned around and did this. So I would say I would rather have seen the 10% increase in down payment versus what they just did.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is the route they decided to go. We're going to see the impact. I know a lot of people in the mortgage industry, they're not happy about it for good reason, but we're in a market that lacks supply. We're not seeing a whole lot of movement, and there's fear in the market. People are afraid the market's going to drop. That's why CMHC is doing this in the first place, because they're afraid come fall, we're going to see a correction in the market of 9 to 20% or 18%. I think they posted. Unfortunately, I think they just created that drop personally, but we're not going to really know for sure until we hit probably August or September. But I wouldn't be blaming it on COVID. I'd be blaming it on CMHC, right?
So can I ask, so the hardest hit clearly are going to be the first-time home buyers. Or anybody who doesn't have 20% down.
That's going to be the clear hit for sure. And then it's going to depend on how they treat conventional mortgages from that point, whether those people are going to get hit also. So I will say this, the one part of the market that's really going to pick up here is going to be those alternate lenders, the ones you have to go to a broker for. Those guys are probably really going to have a big uptick in business, because they don't go with TDS and GDS rules per se, or they're much higher. Usually they keep them up around the 50% mark and not 39 or 34. So we have a lot more room to play, but the rates are higher. And you're going to probably see these guys may actually drop the rates a little bit, but they're going to be a lot pickier on who they lend to, because they don't have so much money.
Yeah, they're going to have the pick of the litter, right?
Yeah, that's right. And they will take the pick of the litter. So, I hate to say this, but you're going to probably see areas like Innisfil get knocked off their lending area, because it's not a big enough area for them to lend to. So you might see Barrie still in there, Newmarket, Aurora, and obviously closer to the GTA and Greater Toronto area. But they're going to probably start knocking out other areas, like even Keswick and Jackson's Point and Sutton. Those areas might not want to lend there anymore. We could see that in 3 months coming up.
Can I ask 2 questions? I don't think that it specifically affects this sector, but there's 2 sectors I have a question about. One is self-employed people. Does this address them in any other way, shape, or form except for the requirements, or is it going to hit them harder?
Well, you know what? It's probably definitely going to hit them harder, just because most self-employed people can't hit those ratios, right? Because they're just not showing the income on paper the way they should. So,
Can I stop you there? Because I mean, I'm self-employed, you're self-employed. This is what happens, right? It's
Mhm.
the pull between the devil. You want to do as many write-offs as you can to get the tax advantage. But we've seen it over and over and over again. You show that you make 10 grand a year. Well, that's the income that they're going to base your mortgage on. So you may win in the tax in the short term, but you're going to lose because you're not going to be able to show the income to support it.
Right. And then you're going to end up having to go to an alternate lender, like I just mentioned, with 20% or more down. Got to be a little bit more specific on the property. So there's those little things that come into play now when you're self-employed and you're going to have a higher rate. So yeah, you're getting the payoff with no taxes, but you're going to get this part on the other side. I definitely feel sorry for the self-employed because they've really been clamping down on them in the last 6 months, like even a little bit prior to COVID. And they're actually getting more stringent on the income, and does it seem realistic? Can we add it back on your bank statements? And they're asking for a lot more documentation just to make sure that that income can be provable, even though you're not claiming it on your taxes. So they're definitely going to take a hard hit. So who was the other area you were thinking about?
The other one, sorry, I'm trying to get my charger because my computer's about to die. The other one is new builds. What do you see happening with new builds? Like what?
So they haven't actually come out with a change on that one yet. So I don't know how CMHC is going to do this, because most people, they don't, like I said, pre-approval is pretty much only a rate hold, and that's what is good on the paper it's written on. So when it actually comes to getting the physical approval, are they going to qualify? Now, they might not qualify under these new rules, but will the government stand back and say, okay, yeah, I get it. You bought back in, February of the year before, you haven't closed yet. So usually the government does usually step in and say, okay, we're going to make the exception and grandfather you through because your purchase was prior to that. So I expect that will probably happen. But again, until after July 1st, we're probably not going to know the answer to that one.
What about construction in general? Do you think that this is going to change the amount, what is this going to do to developers?
Well, developers are already down. I think when I read it was like 50 or 70% from 2019, right? A lot of it has to do with getting the permits and stuff. So that's always been my argument with, hey, if this market crashes, it's not going to last because there's just no supply going on the market right now. And
right.
That's going to catch up, and then we're going to be right back out of this, and we're going to be back into that high demand market where everybody's looking for a house. So, market prices are supply and demand, and if there's no supply, prices are going to go up. So it's just the way it's going to be. So yeah, CMHC might have caused a bit of a correction in the market, but it's going to be short term. You're going to see a lot more wealth investors come out in the market, I think, in the next 3 months.
Right.
The opportunity now is going to be there for them even in a bigger way because more inventory will be out. Less buyers will be available, especially on the first-time home buyers. So they're going to have a great opportunity stepping in and saying, hey, you know what? This is a great time to buy one. I'm not going to be as much competition. Prices might go down a little bit. And not only that, the rental market's about to explode. Let's face it, because more and more people just can't afford to buy.
That's right.
Not under the guidelines. They can afford the rent, but they can't afford, to qualify. Right.
Right.
It's a shame, but yeah.
So what are some of the pros?
Well, the pros are, one, if you're looking to list, this is a good time to get off the fence and list your house, because if you're going to probably get top dollar, it's going to be in the next 3 weeks. That's my opinion, if I'm going to put it out there. Mm-hmm. The next thing is, if you're looking to invest into real estate, that might be a great thing in the next 2 months, right, coming up, because we might see a bit of a correction in prices, more inventory, less buyers, just like I said. So, if usually you got to take these things and you got to look at the opportunity that comes with it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And see where it is. And this is not, and guys, I'll tell you, this is not about interest rates either. So there's another thing too. We could see a drop in interest rates come after again in July, only because no demand, right? Like everybody's looking for business. So they're going to get more competitive on the market, right? To fight what's out there. So, that's a very good possibility too. We could see that. So there's some good that will come out of it. Hopefully we don't have another wave in the fall. And then maybe CMHC will actually lift this and take it back. Although if I had to put my name on it, I don't think they're going to lift it for quite a while.
Yeah.
For a while.
I think the bottom line and the purpose of us doing this is educating people, letting them know. I mean, everybody sees the announcement come out, but how does it affect me personally, right? And I can't encourage people enough. Like either reach out to Rob or I, or a mortgage broker and realtor that you trust, because you need to know where you stand more than ever. I mean, this year we have seen so many changes I mean, we all thought 2017 was going to be the historic time of our era, and it will be for a different reason. But I mean, we have far more happening in 2020 than during that period. And each day it changes, right? How it affects you.
Oh, 2020 will definitely go down the history books for a lot of things, right? Like it's almost a cleaning house type of year, right?
Yeah.
So, but like I said, 2008, there was big opportunity there for a lot of people. Some took advantage of it. Most didn't out of fear. And same thing's going to happen here too. We're going to probably look back in 2 years and we're going to be going back and say, you know what? I should have pulled the trigger back then. I didn't do it. Well, now it's too late, right? So, and let's face it, nobody could see that. Nobody has that crystal ball. I wish we did to go out and find out what's going to happen in 2 years. But if I had to take my guess, like real estate's never going to go anywhere. Like it's always going to be there. There's always going to be demand. There's nothing here taking the demand away. Not right now, right? So it's a great thing to invest into for sure.
So the bottom line is, if you're even thinking about selling your house, don't hesitate. I mean, so many people lost out in 2017. They hesitated. Don't hesitate. Now is the time to talk to a realtor right now. Get it on the market. We have, and I know myself, like I said, I was stuck in that nine offer, and that's just one. It's happening everywhere. And that's in Toronto, it's crazy. Right?
And here's something, you mentioned 2017, because here's the big difference. Nobody knew that announcement was going to come out and make that change. And it was an overnight change. And a lot of the people I talked to in 2017, it's like, I'm putting my house up on the market in the spring. I got to paint it. I got to clean the heat troughs. I got to fix the roof. I got to do like, there's all these things they want to do the house so it could be perfect to put it on the market. And as well as I do, in 2017, like if it had a flushing toilet, it was probably going to sell.
Yeah.
Like it was that ridiculous, and it was going to go overpriced. So that's how and then it just came to a dead halt. So you've got July 1st coming up. Most people right now, they're going to buy whatever they can get their hands on. They don't care what the color of paint on the wall is. They don't care how dirty the rug is, right? They just want to get into something because they know come 1st of July, these changes are going to come in and they're not going to have an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to sell your house in July and August, then you're going to have to probably paint those walls, do the carpet, do the floor, and then hope that you're going to get the same kind of money you would have today. And that's really what's going to about to happen. Excuse me. So I would not wait. That was not a COVID cough, by the way.
Exactly. And that was not a COVID cough. Now I'm going to cough. Excuse me. Not a COVID cough. Okay. So that's definitely an opportunity for sellers and opportunity for buyers. I think we've talked quite a bit about, which is, if you don't want to be under those restrictions, do your best to get in now. Like, do your best to get in now if it's viable for you, right?
Yeah, and we always talk about the buyers. It's like, hey guys, great time to get in the market. You want to do it now. So buyers got a little bit more options here what to think about. And we already have a flood of buyers. Buyers are already there. We don't have listings. So it's those guys that are sitting on the fence. And the same thing comes around. Sell now high, because you might be able to buy low in 2 months.
I love that.
Right? So we don't see that opportunity too often. Like normally we don't see it until after it's passed. This is something that could actually happen. And the writing's almost on the wall. You can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
You may have a great opportunity to sell at a high point and buy at a low point.
Rarely happens. So
rarely happens, right? So that we talk about opportunity, and that's opportunity. So
yeah,
it's there. So if you're thinking about doing that move up, this might be that time to roll the dice and take it, because your odds are more in your favor than they are of selling low, buying low, and doing like we normally do. We don't get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So it's there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Rob, because I think that really explains it to everybody. And please share this with as many people as you can.
And I believe on Monday we have Kirby coming up. Is that correct? Is it?
No, on Monday on TV, we have Vaughan Tran, who's going to really deal with sort of physical. He's a trainer. He's a physical trainer, but he also has a very good program where it incorporates mindset, because there's so many things swirling around and people are going through. And believe it or not, COVID is still happening, because if you look out there, a lot of people are acting like it's not. COVID is still here for a lot of people. So we're going to start to address some of that kind of stuff. But this was important. We wanted to get this out.
Mm-hmm. That's great. All right. So that's it for today. Perfect. TNT out.
Out.
Okay. There we go.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob.
No problem.
Bye.